So today on Project Shop, I'm getting back on the milling machine's way wipers. So I have to do a couple, I have to mill the back side of this one to make it like this. Mill those pockets in it. And then I actually have to, I think I have to trim some of this off. I put it on there and it was kind of tight, and then we need to cut the rubber. But before we do that, I have to take a look at this side here, because I know it's kind of loud in here with the fans, but there's some type of, when I'm going this way it's fine, when I go this way I can feel almost like a gear grinding, and this one has a brass gear in there, so I'm assuming this is going to be the same, and we don't want to tear the face of the brass gear off. I just need to take this apart real quick, see what's going on. It seemed like this is kind of loose. I don't know if it's these screws or what, but I just want to open this up, look what's going on in there, make sure we're not trashing something, and then hopefully see if we can't fix the situation. It might just be like this one. There was just some loose screws in there, so hopefully I can just tighten it up and we'll get back to milling some parts. Okay, so here's what we got. This is the brass gear, and it doesn't look like anything was really chafing, like rubbing the ends off. Matter of fact, the gear that's in there looks way worse than this. So, got some chips in there. We're gonna clean all that up. This thing here has a rubber gasket somehow glued to it. I guess to keep the chips out of getting into the gear. So what we're going to do is clean that up. There's no way for me to really get that gasket back on there. It's kind of, you know, this is all original. Who knows how old this machine is? Probably 40 years. This is the problem, and this was the exact problem. I don't know if you can see that. See that slight wobble in there? Pretty sure just those screws came loose. So we're just going to tighten them up. And on the other one, there's like an aluminum plate back there. And what happened was, because it's aluminum and soft, the aluminum stripped out. But I was able to find a longer screw, and I ran the screw right through the aluminum into whatever was back here was threaded, so it got in there, and this thing's super tight now. I'm hoping that just that right there just tightened that up. I'm hoping that's all that the issue was. Matter of fact, I'm actually going to take this out and put some see, these are so short. Okay, so I don't see any like thread on there. That'd be bad if we saw some aluminum on there. So I'm going to clean that out a little bit. Clean this up. I'm gonna put some Loctite on here, because if this thing starts getting loose while we're using it, it's just gonna wallow out the threads and strip them out, and we want to avoid that at all costs. And then I will put some fresh grease in here, and then what we're gonna do is work on some chip management so that we're not slinging chips all over the place, and you know, try to keep them contained basically. I am going to try to make a thing for the vacuum that I can mount somewhere up here and keep it, you know, right next to the cutter. If I can get it sucked up before they sling everywhere, that would be the ultimate way. But I think we're just gonna have to, you know, deal with them. Steve was telling me he's seen some of the most crazy things that people do with wood, cardboard, plexiglass to stop the chips, and if you're using flood coolant especially. And I did find I've been looking at spray mist coolants and reviewing some of them. I think I found one that I'm gonna buy. It's a concentrate that makes like 30 gallons. So I'm gonna get that so that we can stop using just water. But for now, we're just gonna tighten this up and get this thing dialed back in, finish the way wipers, and then later on we're going to be putting the rotator back on here and probably making a custom fly cutter. I like the idea of making my own tools, so. Okay, so I put all that back together and it seemed like it worked a little bit better, but still at some point I felt the gears touching, and I noticed what I did is I locked the table down and then I moved this back and forth, and I can see the rod kind of going in and out. So I took this side apart, and this side was even looser than the other side. And it's hard to tell, but basically this thing was moving in and out as well. So we had two things going on here. These little screws right here, okay, basically back themselves out, and there's really not a lot that they're biting into, and this is aluminum, so I'm glad we caught it now, because that could have got bad. Like that first one up there, that one got stripped out, and if I couldn't I found some threads beyond with longer screws, I would have had to drill it out and put like a helicoil in there or something. And there was a bunch of chips down in there. I don't know if they were causing issues, but we're going to clean this up and tighten this back up, and I'm hoping that's going to take out the play. I think it was just moving, it was allowing that side to move just enough in that them gears were touching. Definitely not something we want going on. Okay, so I got this thing all fixed up. Now when I turn it, not only does it feel nice, it took a lot of the backlash. Those things must have been loose for a while, because this thing, I was surprised at how much backlash it had in there, due to the fact that the guy told me this machine wasn't run on a production line. It just, things loosened up, I guess. You know, it's an older machine, but I did put Loctite on everything, and I actually had to take it all back apart again because I guess I had rotated the handle and it pulled the, you know, the screw, it moved it over a little bit. And then I put it back together and it was grinding even worse. So I'm like, oh great, I made it worse. But I got it, it feels good. We got our power feeds are working great. We got our full rapid. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that rotator up on here so I can mill out these. Now this cut here and most of this, you know, I could pretty much get with this vise here, and then I'm limited on my cutters. I'm going to have to get a set of carbide. We're going to use this cutter here. I think this is what I used last time. Yeah. It's the smallest one I have. We have a smaller one, but it was kind of messed up. Steve tried to cut it down, but the problem with this is it's carbide. The grinder didn't even want to grind it. I guess you got to use like a diamond stone or something. This would have been the one we wanted to use, but anyway, I'm gonna get all that set up. We're gonna get this milled out, and then we're gonna come cut this. And I think I'm gonna have to clean up these edges here, because this, I went to put this on here and the screw holes are down. I need to just take a little bit more off of that inside angle. I think we got off the center a little bit somehow. But overall, because this is just holding the rubber wipers, you know, the rubber's gonna do good. And I'm gonna try to find some felt. This stuff is not expensive when you buy it, but it's relatively cheap stuff if you can find it in a different application, like rubber. This was like an insulation thing for some electrical thing. It's literally the perfect size. And then if I could get some felt, I think the felt would work even better, because it would, you know, it would do its thing. So I'm gonna get all that set up, man. We're gonna start making some chips. Okay, I straightened out this one, and I have the clearance that I need now, hopefully. Now, being this is the back one, I'm going to take a hacksaw and split this in half, because the ones that you buy that are $360 and made out of billet aluminum, they literally come in 2 pieces. So I don't think it's going to be an issue as long as that screws where it needs to be. This is just going to kind of keep that from going anywhere. And all it's doing is holding the rubber in, you know, in place. So this one here is pretty much done. This is going to be on the back side. I'm not going to go any further with this one. Now this other one, since I just made that cut, I pretty much had the angle set up in here. I just slapped this one in here. I'm going to cut that angle out first, and then I'll swap over and clean that rough edge up, and then we'll mill the pocket in there. Now on this setup, what I did is I put a spacer underneath of it, because my sting was coming into here. I touched that for a brief second, and I brought my cutter down a little bit. Now this cutter, the bottom of it's kind of messed up, but the side of it cuts great. So, and this is the smallest one we have at the moment, so we're just going to run it and see how this goes. My air mister is not really working. I gotta see why it's not blowing fluid. We actually need to cut some more angle out of that. So, and this is all, I'm just eyeballing all this. What we need to do is loosen this and turn this that way. Let's try that. Okay, I'm gonna call that good. What we're gonna do now is lower the machine down. Put the other bit back in there. Might utilize that small bit again here in a minute. So I had scraped some lines in there, but it's kind of hard to see. I'm going to go ahead and re-scrape them real quick, and then we're going to get to cutting. Okay, pretty much we just have to put this in the rotator to do the final operations. We're going to stick the smaller cutter back in there and clean up that edge and clean up these inner edges, and we should be done with that. We can move on to dialing in our rubber wipers. And then this particular one here, I am going to split this in half with a hacksaw, which is like the thinnest blade that I have, and so we can get this on the back side. And then the front one, this one here, I'm actually going to paint it, and yeah, it's going to look nice. Okay, I'm back at it now. I started cutting out the actual wiper. It's kind of hard to gauge what I need because this is so swollen. Like when I try to fit it in the original piece, you can see how far it comes past here, and even when I put it up in there, you can see how far down it comes on there. It's just, you know, it's hard to gauge what exactly I need, so I cut this out pretty close, but I'm gonna have to kind of refine it a little bit because a couple things. One, I got this angle here pretty good. I'm okay with that, but I got a gap right here that I don't like. And another thing is, down in this corner, it's actually like a square. So I don't know if the other one was a square, but I'm gonna have to figure out how to cut the square in there. But it looks like it's gonna wipe it pretty good. And the only other thing I'm worried about is, you know, I cut this to size, but it doesn't even reach all the way over, which I don't really think this thing sits on here too much. It seems like it sits down here for the most part. But in addition to these wipers, I'm either gonna find a piece, they make this accordion stuff, I'm either gonna use that, or I'm just gonna put a piece of plastic here, temporary, until I find something to keep this stuff from you know, getting up in the ways. So I'm going to think on this for a minute. I was thinking about setting the rubber up here like this and spraying spray paint on the backside so I can get a good outline, but this kind of got a edge here, so I don't know how close it's going to be. If I can get one really good one, I mean, that seems like it would work good for the most part. I think actually that would actually work really good. I just need to tighten up that corner a little bit. So yeah, that's going okay. We'll get on that in a second. Okay, here's where we're at. We're pretty much done with all the milling. This thing fits on here great. Okay, I just had it screwed on there. So that's basically what it's gonna look like. And then I'm cutting these things to kind of fit in there. like so. A little tight, so I'm just kind of trimming them up. The brown stuff is paint. I painted it and had them stuck together, but anyway, this one here I kind of got a little aggressive with the cut there, but this one over here fits really well. As you can see, we got it up in there nice and tight, and it's going to be in there like that. I just got to trim. Well, I guess I can just kind of squeeze it in there. But there you have it. It's fitting in there nice and flush. Now, I think what I'm going to do for now on the back side is actually put the plastic one back on there, because I was thinking about it. I don't want to cut this in half. That's going to kind of bother me. I have to pull this whole carriage off of here anyway, so that I can fix these plates. They're bent up. I need to take this out. I can see there's the kink right there. I need to get these off of there, and the only way to get them off is to, I think, or maybe I can look underneath and see if there's a screw or something holding them. I need to get them out so that I can straighten them, and when I do that, I can just slide that rear one on. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the rubbers, and then I'm going to just put the plastic one back on temporarily, and then I'm going to put these ones back on. I'm going to have to make these, but I'll do that another time. I want to get on some ingot milling. So, and plus I'm also looking for the protector. There's like an accordion thing or a piece of rubber that you can get for back here and up here. So it's definitely a work in progress, but we're getting there. At least if I get these way wipers back on here, it's going to protect that. On the back side, I'm probably just going to use the original plastics, but as you can see, these rubbers might work. These are what was on the back side. And as you can see, they're all swelled up. Yeah, I'm gonna have to remake those. They're not doing too good. But even these things here, look at that. I mean, they're bowed like crazy. So they're not really doing, I don't think they're really doing their job. This one's a little better, but you know, we're gonna make these out of that billet aluminum. But at least for today, we'll be able to get all the wipers back on. Maybe I just need to trim this one up. I don't know. But these are just swollen to the point where they're not really useful. So, and that's the original one, just trashed. So once I get these dialed in, I think I'm going to remake this. I kind of cut that notch out of there. I'll make 3 more. That one's a really good one. I'm going to copy that. And then I just have to get the holes in there, and we're ready to go. Ready for some serious milling work. Okay, this is where we're at. We cut out a bunch of these. I cut one really good. Steve's over here tracing them. We got to make 4 exactly like this. So this is it actually flipped backwards, just to see how good our fit is. And I think we're going to be good. The only thing we have to do now is drill a hole where the hole's going to be, right there. And we're going to be good. So on this, until we figure out how to get these off, I'm going to go ahead and just put the plastic one on the back side, and then we're going to put the plastic things in the corner, but we're going to make new corner pieces. So I think we're good with these 4. I got one more Steve just gave me. I think this one I need to test. one you just give me? This one? Oh, this one needs some work, dude. Yeah, you need to trim some off the top, and the angle is in there funny. You see this? I mean, I think it's okay. Just try to tighten it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna fit this. I'm not gonna paint this today. I'm just gonna get this in there because we're getting ready to use. I think we're gonna use this. We're gonna make a custom fly cutter. So we're gonna be cutting steel, and I want to get this on here for that. And yeah, I'll get this mounted up, and then we'll get right back at it. All right, there you have it. I ain't done. I'm gonna actually take that off and paint it, but as you can see, it is squeegeeing really well. Let me bring this out so you can see. You can see we got our wipers in there. This side, the aluminum got real close, but the wipers down there doing its job. And this is what we originally started with, and I think what we have on there looks way nicer. And I am going to paint it and leave this and the top edge exposed aluminum. Now on the back side, we did put rubbers in there, and you can see they're doing the job, but I did put the plastic back in there because I was able to put it here and just bend that into place kind of like that. I can't do that with the aluminum. And then we did put the plastic wipers back with new squeegees. I will be making aluminum ones for this. I'll put them on when we pull this off. We're gonna have to, we just got under there and looked. We have to disconnect the thing that holds onto this for the travel, the screw basically, and pull these plates out so that we can bend them. These plates are actually, they're actually hollow in here, like that. And they're bent. Something, chips must have got under here or something. The only way I can get them bent back is to take them off and straighten them. And unfortunately, that means pulling this whole thing off. So that's going to be for another day. But what we're going to do now is we're going to make a fly cutter out of this piece of stainless. So stay tuned for that and more metal cutting mayhem. I'll tell you where we're going, right to the scrap yard. Dancing. You ever seen your copper dance before? We have a ton of ends from a bunch of HID bulbs. Now what I do with these is I cut the ends off and then I recycle the cores, but these you can actually get paid on brass. The rest of it you just got to, there's two ways of doing it. One, you can take it somewhere, and then there's another way of processing them. But basically what I do is put them up on the table, and for the most part you can just kind of roll them to one side and most of the glass will fall out, and you can just, you know, push it in here,